Hola, hello, and welcome. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Be Clay. Thanks for tuning in here on the Be Clay podcast. Hi, my name is Elisa, and we are learning. We're on a journey, a continuous journey to learn how to just be clay, how to allow whatever process that the potter has. We are going to embrace it and just be molded and shaped and be thrown into the kiln. And whatever it is, you are the potter and I am the clay. It's not just words, it's not just a cliche, but it's exactly what we're going to do. And who I am. I am clay. And clay means I am to be molded. That's my purpose. So, I want to start. I was thinking, I don't have any announcements necessarily as of right now. We are in July of 2026. So, we're moving along. We just went through half the year. And so now we're in the latter half of the year. And so here it is. So I'm excited. I'm not gonna say to some degree, but because we are getting closer to 2026, and there are some things that's going on now that I'm really, I guess, understanding all that has went through 2025 and prior, even the first half of 2026, and so, but we are now in part 1 of 2025. Now I'm going to let you know right now, this episode is not going to be like the other episodes. First of all, 2025, a lot, and I mean absolutely a lot, happened in 2025. 2025 was a year, okay? It was a year. And it seems like, well, you said the same thing about 2024. I did, because 2024 was a year. But I also told you that the end of each year is basically the preparation for the next. And that day one of that new year, baby, things starts right away. So it was a year. If I, looking back at 2025, if I can say or give a title for 2025, I would say 2025 was the year where I really learned how, like, what God really thinks of me. Okay? We're in relationship. We be in relationships. I'm romantic, friends, family, and we, based upon that relationship, we have a inkling to some degree of how someone may value the relationship, whether they value or don't value. Again, we have an inkling, and so what he really proved to me in 2025, like, this is what I think about you. Like, this is who you are to me. How much you valued our relationship. This is the year I really realized that this year, this 2025, and that's why it was so dense, should I say, because it was a lot. So because of that, I don't know how many parts this is going to be. To be honest with you guys, I don't, because it was a lot. Every month was a lot. I'm not going to try to have 12 parts necessarily, but every month was enough. I can't even put it in like I was coupling the 2 different months and things like that. But this one, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So with all that being said, let's let's jump in. This is an introduction to 2020. So when we stopped and ended in 2024, basically, I now have the language. I'm able to articulate what, with my attachment theory and understanding the shell, because the shell that I go into as a coping mechanism, and now I'm able to, now that I identify the shell and the reason for the shell, now I'm understanding, and I have the right language to tell others, my family, friends, everyone else, that where I have went into my shell and they left them hanging like, wait, what happened? I'm beginning to now let them know, listen, this is what happened. This is what I realized. And all that. I'm beginning to really reassess my relationships, my part in the relationship, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. Like, there's some relationships, like I said, that if you want to be with me, then there's things that you would do. Because in reality, I was, in a lot of relationships, I was more the initiator of really trying to make relationship works more than the other person or the other parties. And, at the end of the day, like even God himself, like if you want me, then you will come to me. And we're always expecting God to come to us, and we don't really come to him unless we need him. So, because in reality, we expect God to take what we don't take, right? We expect God to put up with things we don't even put up with. And so, but God don't put it up with it. So now I'm realizing, well, I'm not going to put up with certain things, right? So, and I did start school at WGU in December 2024. Technically, I should have started January 1st, but, I wanted that 1098T and all that stuff like that. So I started the year before. But I should have started January. I should have. My plan was to start in December, because WGU is a self-paced school. And my plan was to start and have at least 2 or 3 classes done in December, because, for those that know that I do taxes, so tax season can be, a lot. And so this will give, and then I was going to plan certain classes during that tax season, but that's not what happened. Nothing that I planned went along. So in the end of December, because I was in this place of reassessing the relationships and my part in the relationships, really learning a lot, right? That's I really learned a lot. I went through another it was a mini one, but it was one, an ugly phase. But I was embracing this ugly phase. Like, this ugly phase was here, and I didn't look as great as I want, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I wasn't beating myself up. Because I had to learn how to come out of this shell that I have been in for so long. Sorry, you guys. I have learned. So it was so I was learning. We were learning, and it wasn't, it didn't always look great, but we were learning how to come out this shell and understanding. So in 2025, in the beginning of 2025, I just thought that we about to be out here popping, because now I have allowed God to just, like, he really was just showing me, like, he literally was showing me, because remember I was telling you guys that he was really showing me my true identity, and my true identity comes from him and no one else. And so I just knew that I was, because I told you that my ultimate fear, I should say my ultimate fear in life is that I will leave here without giving God the return investment while I was here. And so that's all I want, is to give God the return of his investment. And so I just knew that 2025 was going to be the breakout year, right? I started a year, let's go, God. Now I got the tools. I know what to do. I know how to approach you. Let's go. This is going to be the breakout year, because I was tired of the person of that with great potential, right? That one of who has all this in her. I was tired of just being the one that people see. There's certain people that will see and things, and they would say, oh, you got a great calling in your life. You got this, you got that. You should be doing this, you doing that. I can see this and I can see that. You're so strong. You're so this, you're so this. And I'm not even necessarily saying that some of that is true, because that I didn't believe that some of that was true, because I did. I feel the weight of what is inside of me. But I was tired of not walking and not executing what is inside. It's not necessarily something that, like, you know, like some people, they just know they got this good old voice and they just desire to be famous. I didn't desire to be famous. I just desired to be used. I knew and understand that what I have is not for me to just sit here, but it is to be utilized and for him and his glory. And that's all I wanted to do. Like, that's all I want, because that's literally all I wanted to do, is just be used, like literally be used to the fullest. You know, I was tired of just, not that I wasn't being used, but I'm just talking about being used. Like, I know there's something in me that need to go beyond like these, you know, or four walls to some degree, or just this part, like just my local community, but beyond, for the world, so that they can know who he is for real, right? And so, but I wasn't walking in it, because all these things was hindering me from actually really walking in it. Like, I have books in my head that needs to be written so that they can liberate who God knows they need to liberate, to get free from. Books, and there were songs, and there's so much things inside that I just keep them with me, and I know that it's not supposed to stay here with me. It's supposed to be out there, right? And so the weight of the calling, this calling that I have, it frustrates me. It does. It literally really frustrates me, because it's like I'm really not here to seek fame and fortune, to be honest, because it's not about that. And I have never, because it's not about that. And I've seen what, to a degree, I have seen what fame and fortune has done. I have seen it where, you know, people first come out, they like, boom, they on fire. And then all of a sudden, you know, after all the accolades and years of this and that, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what happened? Right? And I never wanted that to be that. So I'm not seeking fame and fortune, because it comes with a cost. It comes with a pretty hefty cost, fame and fortune. I'm not about their life. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not about that. All I want to do is to please him. You gave me the return investment. And I tell people that if people be trying to figure me out, if you really want to know, all me in a nutshell is the song "I'm Available to You." That is me in a nutshell. All I want to do is become completely available to him as all the time. And so understand that my hands and my ears and my voice and my eyes is to be used by him for his glory, for the people. I walk, I sing, you know, every part of that song is who I am, basically, every part. You know, I do hear the cries of sinners and people that are going through, and people just looking for love in the wrong places. I hear that. So being so that I hear it, what I do and I don't do matters. It matters. Because how am I going to answer to what I hear? What am I doing with what I'm hearing? And so I understood that all my life for the most part. And so it's like when you're going to walk, right? Walk in this. And so in 2025, I'm like, all right, God, I seen what you have been doing up to this point. So this is going to be a year where I'm going to really begin to walk in these things of the calling that you have given me. But one thing happened. I began to struggle immediately with this because although I know that I have this great calling on my life, like I really don't care about titles and people giving me accolades. I really don't care about none of that, to be honest with you. I really don't. I really don't. If no one ever say, oh my God, you did such a great job, I'll be fine. I'm not looking for that. But God began to do, and this I said, every month was different. And where there's a lot of things that start in a month, and God really took this whole year to kind of like, it's a lot, you guys. But so there is something that I haven't really talked to nobody about until 2025. I finally brought it up and was on the phone for hours crying and just pouring this out because I usually keep this to myself. And a lot of people will see me. They will say, you know, oh my God, you have this such great gifts, even with singing but I'll stay in the background. As big as my mouth is, I'll stay in the background. And I stay in the background on purpose because I realized through people's looks, through the way they kind of like, there's certain ways that they, like their looks, they say things without saying things, right? Their demeanor around me. And because all I want to do is just be for God. Because God don't play about me, so I don't play by God. Simple as that, right? That's just how I am. So doing praise and worship or devotion, or what we used to call devotion back in the day, I don't play about that because he don't play about me. You get what I'm saying? So I don't play about God. I'm not going to just get up here and I don't play. Now, whatever other people do, that's on them. That's between them and their relationship. But between me and my relationship with him, I don't play. I've seen too much. People die for less. So I don't play when it comes to when I get up on there. If I'm not in the right, we won't. I'd rather stay in the background. And so what's happening is, what has been happening for years is, because of people's looks or demeanors or things that they have done, and I realized that this great weight of this great calling on my life, and I guess, I don't know, it seems like I'm intimidating to people. That's what it looks like to me. Because there's a way that it looks like how people perceive me, and versus of my real heart, right? Because to be honest, we all can eat. First of all, we all need each other. We can all link up together because the real enemy, okay, it's not me, it's not you, right? We understand who the real enemy is. Let's all go hand in hand and let's really fight the real enemy. That's my heart. Like, I don't play about God. And it's not personal enough, and I don't have no issues, no ill will to nobody. We all can eat, right? There may be some, but it seems like I don't know. I felt like I'm always intimidating somebody, and I don't know why. I don't know how. And so I usually just go into the background. So I sit in the back. But I realized that I was being pulled to the front. And I'm like, God, I don't need to be in the front, because when I get in the front, people be acting like I'm doing something wrong to them. And I'm not really trying to do anything wrong to you. Like, I'm with them, and then I don't even know, because they don't tell me. They don't say it with their words. They don't say, hey, listen, I got a problem with you so we can deal with it. they just treat me so bad, like they just so much backlash that I get from I mean, they have cutting eyes, and it's like, but why? What did I do? And I begin to feel this. I actually feel this for a very long time, but I kind of just kept it to myself and just keep it moving. And I'm like, it doesn't even matter. I don't want to sing anyway because I got all this stuff going on. Like, that's what I usually be doing. That's what I say. I don't believe I can sing anyway, so whatever. But I know that I can minister. It's all about ministering to the people because God, because of who he is, and ministering to him first, Like that's just me. I don't play about God. I don't play because he's not to be played with. And that's another series for itself. Because God is not to be played with. He's really not. So that's just me, right? So I'll stay in the background. But I understood the pool. There was a pool of me really coming to the front. And so I began struggling from day one. Like, I'm like, all right, God, let's go. So I'm thinking that, are we good? I'm good. And immediately I began to feel the weight of like, And I was like, what? Why? And what did I do? And so I was like, forget it. And I do what I usually do. I stay in the background. And then, but at the same time, when I get to the background, people are like, what are you doing in the background? Why are you back there? Like, what are you doing? You don't belong back there. And I'm like, obviously I do, because when I get to the front, it's amazing what happens. So like, you're mad. The same people be mad for me to be in the front, but then they're mad for me to be in the back. It's like, what do you want? Because one thing, like I said, I don't play about God. And so, whether it's praise worship, whether it's this, whatever I'm doing, like all those things, like singing, period, like I don't play with that because I understand what it is. Like, especially, I mean, God, that devil, he, we understand, for those that know, like, he was an angel of music. So he's in the music, right? He's in the music. And what better way to really, there's a lot of ways that he, tactics and different things that he used to keep us away from God. And one of his plans, one of the ways that he captures us is through music, because he can mask, especially for those that are not discerners or who choose not to be discerners. But sometimes you can hear it and you just don't care because you just want to do what you want to do, but he's fine with that. Please keep doing that. Please keep doing what you want, because he's going to keep you in a state that and then eventually you just drift further and further away from God. And you've been wondering why you're going through all this stuff, and then you don't want to check what you're listening to. You don't want to check that. So in January, like it was a struggle, because I just expected that we're just going to be going home, let us go. And I was starting to pull back. But I felt the pull, like, don't pull back. But I just couldn't shake off I just couldn't shake it off. And then there was other things that now, because of this and how people perceive me, it really brought up to what it was really my inner conversations with my own self. Which it brought me to a state of depression. I literally started 2025, I think, after about really within like the second or third week, I went to depression. It was a lot going on. Now in 2024, I told you I lost my car. It got repoed, and a couple days after my birthday. But at the end of January, I was actually able to get a car, and that was nothing but God. We just gonna say that because it was God all the way. Okay, ain't no way I should have got that car, but I did. Thank the Lord. He's awesome. But I was struggling, and there was triggers that I didn't realize there was triggers because all someone did was give me a look, and I just went into I just started spiraling. And that's where I realized I didn't really realize until later throughout the year. Well, like in the first half, later throughout the first half of the year, that it triggered the one thing that I feel, which is I'm worthless. I'm not worthy. And everything that I do, because everything I do is just to survive. God has been my constant since day one, And so when I came back to God at 15, I'm trying to tell you guys that all I want to do is to make sure that he's pleased, because there's no way that he should still want me. And I just was not understanding why I get so much backlash. And all I'm trying to do is just to give God the return of his investment. And I haven't been giving God a return of investment because of the weight of all this stuff. So I finally was getting to the point where we're dealing with these things that was hindering me for God to get the weight of the return of his investment. And instead of and I'm not asking for accolades. All I'm just saying is stop beating me up. Stop throwing darts at me. Stop. Like, for what? We all you gotta do is ask me, and I would have told you. Alisa, how you get here? I'm gonna tell you how I get here. I'm gonna tell you why I praise the way I praise, and I'm gonna tell you why I worship the way I worship. Well, how can you go in so fast? I can tell you. I can teach you. And actually, to be honest, if you watch me long enough, you will really understand that I'm actually teaching you, because I don't play about God. I realize how holy he is, and I don't deserve to be in a relationship with you, but you constantly is so patient with me and so long suffering that it pains me for me not to give you the return of your investment, because you deserve it. That's simply what I want to do, just give God what he deserves. So I did. I went through a state of depression because it really bothered me that people look at me and was intimidated, and and so and every time I was going and I was getting, going to the back, and then I get a little beat, you don't belong there. Come up here to the front. And I'm like, I can't. So I was struggling. I literally was struggling for all of January. Whew, God. I really went to a depression because it was how people perceive me versus how I perceive myself. I really sit there because I cry, and I just wanted to be chosen. I was going through a lot of things, you guys, and we're going to get to all of it. The thought pattern, because it's just a look that I got in the beginning of this year that triggered a whole lot of things. It triggered all of these stuff all at once. I'm trying to tell you guys, it's because it was I was going through a warm path of so many things, and it's I really don't feel oh my God, I don't think I could, and I don't think I could sing anyway. I didn't think I could sing anyway. I just love giving God the glory and honor and praise. That's all. To be honest with you, if you really sat there and have a conversation with me, you would understand and you would know that. You don't have to treat me like this. It was bad. And so now I'm dealing, and now I got to deal with all the reason why you feel that way. Why do you don't think that you could, all these different things, it really was. That's why I say in 2025, I really, really, really believe that God was really trying to show me how much he values our relationship, because all these thoughts and patterns and things that I was thinking about my own self, it's like, but that's not how, no, baby girl, that's not it. Because you should know me better than that. And he really, throughout this whole year, and I mean, at the end of the year, I realized why these things was coming to the surface, because we had to deal with this. By the end of the year, and we won't talk about it, all those things that I can't sing and this and what I can and cannot do, I had to throw all that away. We was until 2026. We actually, we'll be in July, so in June we really got rid of the last sayings of some of the things I was saying, and so but this was the beginning, because he was trying to prove to me how much he valued our relationship and how I need to value our relationship and not worry about other people. And so what they say what and think that it's not my job to figure out why. So if you have a problem with me, it's not my job for me to fix it. It's a job for you to go to God and have you fix it with your problem with me. That's your job. That's not my job. And I had to relearn that. In 2025, I was learning it. So, it was a lot of, Jesus God. That's why I can't do this. It's a lot. Because even like it triggered a lot. It triggered, I believe that no one really fights for me. I'm the only one who can fight for me. Like, this is why I'm so into God, because he's the only one that can fight for me to some degree. The only ones that can fight for me is those that really know him. So, like, you have to really, really know him to know how to fight for me. And I think it was, as far as I was concerned, it was a very small, like, remnant that those, But, and then it was like, but the main ones that I really wanted to fight for me was like my dad and like my husband. Like, where's the men? Why the men don't fight for me? And it really opened up the inner conversation that I kept, was why I was not good enough for these male factors to fight for me and protect me in my life that was supposed to do that. They chose to be my life, like you chose to be my dad. And so that came up in January too, which put me into a Great Depression. And like I said, and it was all from this one look that I received. And because I had to literally, I had to look in the mirror and was like, do you know that I be struggling here? That but you looking at me like, oh, you this great person. Am I? Or I'm just trying to make it every single day, And because this is what I really feel about myself. This is what I really think about myself. This is how I really look at me. I don't understand what you're seeing, but what you're seeing is not how I'm not portraying it. Whatever you see, I'm not necessarily even portraying it. I'm just portraying, as far as what I was concerned, I'm just trying to grab hold onto my anchor, because if I don't, I'm a sink. I'm a sink. I'm a drown. And so all of this was coming up to the surface of what I really, because that look was like, it did something. It cut me. It's so deep, because it's like, you don't even know me. And that's fine. All you gotta do is really ask me and I will tell you. But it was hard. That's why it was hard. I struggled this first half of the year for the most part, like really. And I didn't really say too much to other people or whatever, because it was so much. and I didn't really know how to articulate to be able to speak it. So I just sat there, and I remember being in service, and God was trying to tell me, like, Elisa, like, he was trying to tell me how much he loves me, and he's like, Elisa, you just crying because you talking about you want to be chosen, because I was, like I said, I was feeling like, no, well, they chose me, but they chose me to do for what? They chose to be my dad, but then they wasn't there for me. Where were they? Not even here. So I was really, because even though as much as I wanted to give God the return of investment, I was scared that he was going to drop me like everyone else. It was so much that was there, and I remember being, like I said, in service in that January, just crying and saying, and he was saying, Elisa, you wanted to be chosen, but I chose you. I chose you. And he kept saying that, but I couldn't receive it, right? I couldn't receive it. And then I was crying because I wanted to receive that so bad. So bad. So bad. And so, it was a lot of things. And then, although I started school, and I knew what I would just have to be, because, I'm good at self-pacing and discipline, especially when it comes to school, and it wasn't working. I found myself working around the clock. That's why I said this is going to be a lot of parts, because a lot has happened in 1 month. You would think that's just 1 month. That's only 1 month. But a lot of it's happened in the beginning, and because I do feel the weight and of people, and instead of me just, well, that's their problem and that's not mine, I'll take on, and like I told you, I begin to try to fix it to make it better for them, or to make them feel better, comfortable, or whatever it is. But then I don't even know. So I was trying to do that. But then at the same time, I'm not. I just said, God, I want you to get the return on the investment. I just say, look, God, let's go. And here I am again, not doing at least my part. Not doing at least my part. So that is the beginning of this year. 2025, and 2025 was something. Let's be prepared, because it's a ride. We're gonna be on a ride. We're going to be on a roller coaster. It's gonna be a lot of twists and turns. There's going to be some ups, and there's going to be some downs, and you gonna be with me with it all. Okay, you guys, but all this matters. And like I said, every year prepares, because that, understanding, because this is where I learned, about core wounds. If you know about attachment theory, and when you are trying to get healed from attachment, the other, attachment theories, and become secure, they talk about the core wounds. And this was the year and this is one of the core wounds that I didn't understand this what it was until months later. But this is where God was saying it's time to deal with the core wounds. And so, though that cutting of, though that the trigger, because sometimes one thing can trigger multiple things at the same time. And it's because there's so much layers, and so things are so deep. That's what happened. I was triggered immediately. And all these things just put me to a state of depression. And I just kind of just sat there for like months. Just sat there for months. And so, even like, I quit school. Like, I literally quit. My mom, like, I'm done. Like, all these things just happened. I was on a spiral for a while, and So we're gonna get into all of that. We're gonna get into everything. We're gonna even how to be careful in the midst of when you in this state of not saying and not doing too much. I'm gonna get into that because it was just the next month that every month was baby please. Because again, I told you, ooh, Jesus, oh God. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I was just thinking about what happened the next month, but um I knew but I didn't realize, you guys, that I want to be ooh, Jesus. I wanted a breakthrough, right? I did. And I was like, okay, well, let's go. And I thought this would be my breakout year. And it was. It really was. But I didn't realize that God really had to shine the light on all those core wounds that I was afraid of. And here's another moment where you got to get to the root of things. And it's not easy and it's hard when you really get to the truth and the core truth and to the bottom line of where things started from, right? The occasion point, the starting point of everything. And this is where we were. We was getting it down to the nitty gritty. And it was a lot. It was hard, but we made it through. And what I will leave with you is to be prepared. Like you can't ask God to, oh, I want to break through, Lord, send me a breakthrough. We got songs about breakthrough and not not really expect God to get down to the nitty gritty, to get to those core wounds. Like the core, you have to understand what the core is, right? Of your body, what is in your, I'm getting, what the core is, right? They say that the core, like when we exercise, you want to strengthen your core because your core really is in the center of your body, and it really, the trajectory of everything that you do, right? It's from the core. So this is why we got to go right into the core rooms, because it's the center of everything and what you do, every decision that you make, your triggers that you hold, your mindset, all of that. It's right. So it's going to be a journey, you guys. This is introduction. I'm just warning you right now. The disclaimer is going to be a emotional. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a roller coaster. There's going to be some ups and downs and some twists and turns. Because that's what 2025 was. But there was a purpose in everything. There was a purpose in it all. It was a purpose in that. Everything that you go through, everything there is, everything God allowed, there's a purpose. There's a purpose for that. There's a purpose for that. And so, with that, because how 22 and 25 is so dense, I can't summarize very quickly. I can't do by month. We're just going to go. We're just going to go how it goes. And so be prepared. So with all that, until the next time, always know and remember that you are loved, not just by a little, but greatly. Not just today, but forever. Not just by some, but by the one who created you in his love. And guess what? He's not the only one. We love you unconditionally, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do to change that. See you later.
You are
brighter. So I am a big light.